just briefly looked at a video, and I guess the lady was making a TikTok video about some of the people. This was before President Trump was elected into office, and they were discussing the possible getting rid of Section 8 then, or cutting down on Section 8 in HUD homes and all of those. And it was a lady who was talking about how there's a lot of elderly Black women in these Section 8 homes, right? A lot of elderly Black women, right? And she was talking about how a lot of them suffer from obesity. And then she said, hell, I suffer from obesity. Now, this lady don't look to be more than 55 years old, the one that was saying this. But most people are not suffering from obesity. See, people can suffer from lung cancer. People can suffer from multiple sclerosis. People can suffer from terminal illnesses. People can suffer from AIDS. Okay? And so what I'm saying is, I have seen where some people are obese and it just looks like it's nothing they can do about it, because I can tell by looking at them and I look at their family. It's one guy, it was a patient where I worked, and he was real big, right? But then I saw his other families that came in and visit him, and they look exactly the same. Like big ankles, just fat around their ankles. And I said, this don't look normal. This look like a disorder. So, and I'm not saying that everything they eat is good, but I can tell a disorder when I see it. Something looks like a disorder here. This is unusual. This kind of fat is unusual. I've seen fat people, okay? This type of fat right here is just the way it's so fat, look like you got lymphedema, just hanging around your ankles and stuff. And the whole family look like that. This look like a disorder. Now that kind of fat, then you kind of suffering from it. Because it looked like something that you can't hardly do anything about. You're going to have to get medical help. Okay? But other than that, most of us, when I'm talking about most of us, I'm just talking about people in general, we lack self-control. We like to satisfy our taste buds. We like to eat the food. Food is a drug. You want to talk about folks being addicted to crack? Food is a drug. But you're not suffering from it. You might be suffering from an addiction to bad foods, the foods that's not good for you. You might be suffering from an addiction, just like somebody is suffering from an addiction to drugs. Some people suffer from an addiction to food that's not good for them. But the word suffering, you're not suffering. Most people are not suffering the way somebody would be suffering from something like a terminal cancer that is irreversible. Because obesity can be reversed. I'm going to say majority of obesity can be reversed, and you have some that it's a real medical condition, and you can tell that it's a medical condition, like something is wrong. But other than that, it can be reversed. It's a addiction. And I'm going to say this. I believe it's an entity. I believe it's mind control. The fact to be so addicted to certain foods like that, I feel like it's mind control. I'm not making any excuses though. But see, this is outside of continuing to divulge in something that's bad for you without having self-control and pulling back. And you don't have any kind of medical disorder that caused you to be overweight. But you just have a problem with just eating bad foods and you just cannot pull back at any time. I do find that to be demonic. Okay. But that's not the only thing I find demonic. Honestly, I feel like a lot of cancers, a lot of these illnesses, diseases, that's just not normal. And to be honest with you, none of this stuff should be accepted, but I don't want to get on that type of stuff. None of that stuff should be accepted. We have learned to accept something in this world that should not be accepted. None of those things, MS, all this stuff that takes you, that keeps you from being able to operate and function in society, that's not okay, because now you're in a position where you're handicapped for the rest of your life. You have to get a check, or you can't work like that can't be accepted. So I'm just really going to call all of that. I'm really going to call all of that just pretty much demonic, and I'm going to tell you why it's demonic. Because we are in a simulation. We are not the real human beings. We are not the real human beings. We are controlled by a bunch of programs. A lot of our thoughts are coming from other entities that we think is us. We're not the ones that's thinking. It's other entities. Okay? I know nobody else says this, but I see it every day. Okay? So I say that the reason why I call all of this demonic is not because I'm super religious. I call it demonic because it is. It's not natural. You will never find these kind of things in nature. When you see those tribes, when people go and visit these tribes where people kind of stay out in the woods and they have these little houses or whatever, or tree houses or whatever they live in, these folks are never obese. Why don't they have an obesity problem? Why don't they have cancer? Why don't they have Guillain-Barré syndrome? Why don't they have amyotrophic lateral sclerosis? Why don't they have rheumatoid arthritis? Why don't they have it? Honestly, in Green Bank, West Virginia, where Wi-Fi is banned, near that telescope, where they have that big telescope in Green Bank, Virginia, because they do have Wi-Fi over there. But over there where that big telescope is, it's banned. And why is it banned? I mean, why? Well, I said what I was banned. I was going to say, a lot of those people that stay in that area of Green Bank, West Virginia, they used to suffer from migraines. Before they moved to Green Bank, West Virginia, they suffer from migraines, and they suffer all kind of other illnesses that people said they had. Once they got there and got away from the doggone Wi-Fi and all of this doggone 5G, 6G, all of those doggone problems went away. You'll rarely find somebody that's suffering from the illnesses that people have with all this technology. Now, when I talk about something being demonic, I mean that it's something outside of your authentic self. That's what I mean by demonic. So I don't mean anything to be scary. When I say something that's demonic, I'm talking about something that is outside of the Most High, something that is outside of your authentic self. The real human beings in the real world don't have this type of stuff going on. You have this type of stuff going on in an upside down, reversed world. But, and I say the reason why I feel like that addiction to this food and stuff is demonic too, because I feel like something is controlling your mind. I've seen these particular entities that are attached to people that want that puts it in their head to continue to eat. I've seen it. Where these entities purposely want them. It's like they're controlling their mind. It is mind control. Everybody's under mind control. Until you embody your authentic self, you are under mind control. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how responsible you are with money, or how well you pay your bills, or how nice of a car you drive, or what kind of personality you have. Until you are really embodying your authentic self, you are under mind control. And most people are under mind control. Most people are under mind control. Because this world is false. This is a false world. And until you get into your authentic self, your thoughts are not really your own. That's why people continue to be in a time loop. How do you continue to loop and loop and loop and be in a time loop? That means that everything is scripted. You're going along with the script that's already been pre-written for you. And you're going along with whatever's been written out. No creativity. And that's why they want to keep people from being creative. Because if people, the more people have a chance to be creative, you get outside the loop. That's when you stop the looping. But let me stop. I just had to talk about demonic for a second there, because sometimes stuff is done over food. It's a particular restaurant where Spirit told me not to go back to eat at. Sometimes things are done over certain foods to make you addicted to the food. Some of these restaurants, I don't know what kind of rituals they are using. You know. So, but anyway, so it is a problem, but it's not something that is irreversible the way rheumatoid arthritis is. I've never seen anybody, ever heard anybody that's been cured, not a regular average person, right? Because I've seen the average person beat cancer, right? Cancer is a mother now, but I've seen the average person who have beat cancer. I have not seen any average person whatsoever who have overcome rheumatoid arthritis. Okay. Other illnesses that's just autoimmune, because rheumatoid arthritis is autoimmune. So a lot of those autoimmune diseases I very, very rarely see an average person that overcome it. But get away from this technology. Get away from somewhere where it's more, where you get a chance for your body and your mind to have a chance to heal. You might not have those symptoms. So even when it comes to those autoimmune illnesses and those irreversible diseases, I think it's possible that you can beat all of them. But in an area like United States of America, like I tell you, the way the technology is it keeps people sick. You know, a lot of people, when they leave United States of America, because there's a lot of radiation in United States of America. And when a lot of people leave United States of America, they feel like first of all, they lose weight. So that lets you know it's not as much radiation. And sometimes people put on weight in the United States out of protection because of so much radiation. So it's just really unhealthy for us to be here. But yeah, I just feel like talking about that really quickly. I felt like talking about that really quickly. I was just looking at something. I'm about to go off topic. I was just looking at something. I almost envy a person who has a mind to really stand up to a bully. And I'm talking about really, really stand up. Like you have, what's that mind, that fearless mind. Because anybody can talk about, oh yeah, I don't let nobody mess with me. I don't take no mess from nobody. Well, a lot of people say that because it sounds like it's the right thing to say. But I want that ruthless personality. Because, yeah, you're not going to just let people walk over you. Yeah, most people are just not going to let somebody just walk all over them. But if you look at what's happening in the world right now, a lot of people are standing by. And I'm not just talking about Trump, because I know everybody's on the Trump hate train because of everything that's going on. I'm not just talking about Trump. I'm talking about people are sitting back allowing bullies to just run amok. They're just sitting by. So they are taking a lot of shit. I was listening to somebody live, and they was talking about the age of consent, because she was talking about the passport bros. And I guess, is this his name, Floyd Wallace, whatever his name? I guess he's the passport bro that got arrested. And so she went and checked the age of consent in all of the countries, and she wanted to check the age of consent. United States, the age of consent is 18. Do you know that is old compared to, like, Brazil is like, or Colombia? Colombia? It's like 14. And some countries it's like 13. Some countries it was 12. Most countries it was 14 and below. 18 is old to some of these countries. And it's a lot of men in politics. And she was like, we have to get men out of power. They are the ones that are behind this. I know it's a lot of perverted doggone females out there, but they would not be behind the age of consent being 14 years old. Because you don't see too many times, even though you got some perverted women out there that molest boys and little girls too. most of these are men that's in power that want the age of consent to be 14, 13, and 12. Most countries, the age of consent was 14, 12, 13, 15. Like, it was rarely any countries where the age of consent was above 14. And these are men in power. And you have a lot of women who know this, and they're not doing anything to get these men out of power. These men are predators. I just changed the conversation because I just wanted to talk about something else really quickly instead of uploading another video about it. So when I say I want the mind, a ruthless personality, not that you just act impulsive and stuff and just reacting without thinking things through and you end up losing the battle. I don't mean that. I'm talking about having a mind not to be passive. When something is unhealthy, especially if it's attached to you and it's unhealthy, then it's really best to do everything possible to remove it. I have gotten tired of this world. I've gotten tired of this world. I've had dreams. I've seen it, and other women have seen this too, where women are going to be under severe attack. Okay. And I'm just tired of what's happening. This world can be better than what it is. It don't have to be this way. This world doesn't, I'm not talking about the world. It's not just United States of America. It's stuff going on with the world. This world does not have to be that messed up. It's people and it's entities that's in power, that's in control, that's making this world the way it is, because they don't want people to be happy. They don't want people to be on a high vibration. They don't want people to come together. They don't want people married. And when I say married, I'm talking about real unions at a soul level, where like somebody that you're really supposed to be with. They don't like that. They don't like people to come together. You know, for some reason, pastors don't see anything wrong with this. It was during the when the people were trying to, in Genesis, when the people would come together and they were trying to build a tower that would go up to heaven. And then God came and said, look, they're building a tower that's going to reach up to us, that's going to reach up to heaven. And there's nothing that they can do. There's nothing that they can't do. This is what God said, right? God of the Old Testament. He said, there's nothing that they can do. There's nothing that they can't do, right? They're going to be like us, right? And God said, let us confuse the languages. So during that time, God confused the languages. And so they stopped building the tower because they couldn't understand each other. Now that was the story. That sounds to be messed up. That sounds like a God that doesn't like unity. Why would he confuse all the languages? Because he saw that they were uniting and he saw that they were building a tower and it was eventually going to reach heaven. God didn't like that. And so what God did was God came down and confused the languages so they couldn't unite like that anymore. I don't know why preachers like to defend what this God did. And I think it's because they don't really know who this God is. They're not really understanding who this God is. But the Gnostic Bible tells you who this God is. And this is a jealous type of God, but not jealous in a way that, oh, I don't want anybody taking the credit for what I've done. Not that type of jealous. Of course, if you do something and you create something, you don't want somebody else to come take all the credit. That's not even about being jealous. That's like, you deserve your flowers. If you create something, you deserve to get the credit for it. This is literally a jealous God because people had a gift in them that came from Sophia that this particular God did not have after creating this world. That God did not have this gift. So that God was jealous of what was inside of people. And that God wanted to control people. Okay, so what I'm saying is you have some entities that's in charge that hate unity. They are the ones pushing all this colorism and all this racism. And all this stuff, all these problems that continue to go on, and people are like, oh my God, I'm so tired. Why are you tired? That's bad for your soul. I'd rather fight back. Listen, I would rather fight back than to be tired all the doggone time, because you have people that's abusing the system. I'm talking about people in power. People in power. And people that's not even so-called in this particular world, but they're in a different realm, right? Entities that are still controlling this. And they make it hell. They always creating the issues. They always creating the chaos. And I always make look like something's coming. Well, this has to happen, so this can happen. We have to, in order for us to have peace. This, like, no. These entities need to go. Until they go, you will never see peace. I'm sorry. Ain't gonna be no fifth dimension at all, whatever they talking about. It's not gonna be no new earth. These entities need to go. They're gonna find a way. These entities have found a way to trap people who it was in the real world. And they were trapped and brought to the false world. They need to go, period. They need to go. When I say fight back, that's what I'm talking about right there. This world could be much, much better than what it is. You don't have to be pushed around. But anyway, that is it, and I will talk later.